Florida approves Black History standards decried as step backwards. What you think? When you got to read this one, they changed.
It definitely was crazy.
They basically said
Florida Education Association. It's crazy.
So basically, in Florida, they now are going to teach the children that slaves were immigrants who came to America, and slavery taught them. They developed skills in slavery to their personal benefit.
Yeah, Yvette did a. Did she do something on that? I think so.
I don't know, but the thing I get from this is they're already assuming that these people had no skills when they came here.
They had skills, and the ones that was already here had skills.
And when you look at the other stuff in there and what they want to do, I got this right here from
Ivy League will set the standard, and the others will follow.
When you look at this right here, basically they're trying to say that anything you teach on one side, you got to teach on the other, which it gets crazy in some instances because whenever you talk about a race war, a race riot that happened, they're not have to teach that the black people did something to make it happen. So if a black dude was accused of something and was lied on, and the Caucasians come and try to confront him, and the black people defend him, and it lead to a race war, they'll say they're both complicit.
True.
That's what they want to teach in Florida now. And I feel like Ron DeSantis is doing...
Like when they said the massacre or something that happened, they try to blame it on the slaves, why it happened.
Yeah, that's what it... And I think I feel like Ron DeSantis is starting to do things a little more radical because his campaign isn't really doing that well.
Yeah.
So he's trying to do something to up his numbers, but it ain't really working for him.
You notice they're allowing us to learn about African slaves, and that's it. They won't dare cover the slavery after Jim Crow years.
That's a good point too.
That's exactly what they're doing. Depleting us to send the Mexicans. Fuck the U.S. government. I ain't teaching my child that. One of the things that annoyed me the most during the reparation talks in California is it was the mention of foster care. It's like a trump card.
Exactly. They owe us that.
We should get free tuition on the strength of Jim Crow. They never teach about African kings or queens.
Well, you got to look it up yourself. They ain't gonna teach you they're not gonna teach you about your teach you to be more
referred to as Africans.
They're not gonna ever teach you to actually know who you really are. But anyway, identify. This is one of the things that they said you have to teach. This is one of the strands. It said identify African Americans who demonstrated heroism and patriotism, e.g., Booker T. Washington, Jesse Owens.
Those are Boulay.
Tuskegee Airmen, Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, President Barack Obama.
Those are all Boulay.
First Lieutenant Vernon Baker, Sergeant First Class Melvin Morris.
Exactly, Keith. For homeschool and trade school.
It's the way to go. Then they
get a skill in a trade.
Then they got other stuff they got on here about what they want to be taught. Once again, both sidism type stuff. Yeah, so he got a lot of backlash for this, but it's approved.
Yep.
Florida is what it is.
What people are doing is they're taking their kids out of school. Either they're teaching them or having a private teacher come to their school and letting them at an early age develop their skill and what they're interested in, so that they can already get their business started up while they're growing up. And I think that's smart.
Another thing they said is identify African American artists, i.e. Aretha Franklin, Charles White, Abraham Lincoln portrait, James Earl Jones, and Maya Angelou. So the person who painted Abraham Lincoln was a black man?
I didn't know that.
And y'all ever notice when you look at the last names, Charles White, I know more black people with the last name White than black people with the last name Black. I know more. You see more white people with the last name Black. It's weird. It says identify African Americans who demonstrated civil service. There's one more I want to show. Oh, here. Identify oral traditions and folk tales of African Americans, e.g. Anansi, the spider, tale of the midnight goat thief. Now, Anansi is an African folk tale, ain't it? This was in that show, American Gods, where I forgot his name.
Which was good.
He played Mr. Nancy, which is the spider that he played. He got some really good speeches on there, but we know
Orlando Jones.
Uncle says slave name. Not all black people names are slave names. When you look up these last names, it ain't always what we think it is.
She said African Americans who insist on staying in Florida need to homeschool children for the next 2 to 3 years to see how the state responds. Well, you know that they'll try to keep you from taking your kids out of school. They'll come up with all reasons and make you go through hoops to keep your kids in public school.
Exactly.
Sienna, not just Florida, it's everywhere. The public school system is not your friend.
He said, "Nah, a white dude painted Lincoln." Well, they're saying a black dude did it.
White. DeSantis just announced that he is resetting his campaign, so the target of AA and woke isn't working.
No, he's a black dude.
African Americans. Surname, who's your sir, your boss? Sir, yes, sir.
No, it says Charles White was a artist. Charles White, W. White, American artist. He was black, wasn't he? Yeah.
It was a black man.
He was a black man, according to them, at least. Then I went through this right here, the African American folk tales and the stuff they would tell him. They tell a story here about the hair and the something else, and I changed that story.
Well, he probably giving them money.
Huh?
I can't understand how the 4 HBCUs in the state of Florida allows this to happen.
Well, they don't have the money like the other schools, I guess, or the impact.
Then move. You need to do what's best for your children. Your last name is English. I ain't English.
You don't. If you do, we don't get into that right now about the names.
Nah, he white. George Peter Alexander Haley. All Negroes who fight for the black community are married to whites. Orlando Jones, etc. He's an actor.
Orlando Jones, that's his name. Oh, I'm talking about the painting they're talking about. They say he painted Lincoln. I don't know, not the painting you're talking about. I guess there's another painting he did that was done by a black man. All right, Ron DeSantis campaign fires staffers after fundraising shows high spending rate. So he's spending more money than he bringing in, I guess. Fundraising ain't going well for him, possibly.
He'll end up dropping out.